Don't do halfway jobs. You discover a free one does that naturally. Whatever the free one does, he or she does it to perfection. So it's a very practical tool. Whatever you do, no matter what it is.
That includes releasing towards perfection.
You do it, so that you're free in no time flat. How long should it take to be what you are right now? That's how much time it should take to go free. You're free right now in your beingness. You're bound in your ego sense. I took out of Ramana Maharshi something I thought I'd give you maybe next time, but I'll give it to you now. Work is no hindrance to realization. Doing things does not block you from realization. It is the sense of wrong identification that is the source of all your trouble. Get rid of the false identification. And what's the false identification? That you are the doer. And you've all experienced from releasing that when you're released, it happens. You're not the doer. As I told Alan, like when Yogananda was sitting in a bed, it was very high. He was trying to get his balance, raised his hand and went up effortlessly. When you're not the doer, and you want your hand to go up, it just floats up with no effort. In everything you do, the same thing happens. No energy, no effort is necessary. So, being in action is no hindrance. The hindrance is identifying as being the limited body-mind, as identifying with the ego. If you tried to do no action, you wouldn't succeed. Because your karma is driving you now into action. So you try to do nothing, you wouldn't succeed. Whatever your karma is, you would do. So trying to do nothing doesn't help. Only releasing helps. And only releasing will get you all the way. As fast as you will do it. So the action, rather than being a hindrance, is really a help. Because as you're in action, you're being pushed by your feelings, which bring up more feelings while you're in action, for you to release all your feelings. So you must do it in the world, you must do it in action. You cannot do it isolating. When you isolate, you'll just escape. So the next major point to write down on your slips or whatever you got is whatever you do it to perfection. That's behaving like a master. Behaving like a master brings up the objections to it for your releasing. If you don't do things to perfection, it's because actually your destructiveness, your non-constructiveness, causes you to do it not to perfection. But if you make it a point to do it to perfection, up will come these feelings that are anti for your releasing. So make it a point to do whatever you're doing very successfully. That word perfection might not be understood. Success might be better understood. Whatever you do, you should be successful in doing it. Okay, I think I gave you enough for today. These points are so potent. Any one of them that we've had will extremely expedite your going free. They're very practical. They're right down to earth, how to behave in your everyday life. You'll be doing in your everyday life the things that get you free rather than what you're doing now. What you're doing now keeps you bound in the round. And around and around you go. You're on a merry-go-round. But if you do these things, you'll get off the merry-go-round. You'll stop spinning.
The following session was recorded June 4th, 1989.
Private session.
I could give it to you from here on every time I meet you if you won't kill me. I could always keep pointing out things that you're doing that keep you going in the wrong direction of limitation.
One like to. Why don't we try that? I don't know if anybody else is in agreement, but you always talked about in the days when you were giving ego presentation, people grew rapidly. So why don't we try that? Is that something that would help us grow?
Ooh, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't think so. Because what happened before was that every one of them stopped growing, stopped dead. There's a whole gang that was out there.
They didn't have a release technique either, did they?
Right, they didn't have, yes, they did. I gave it to them one-on-one all the time, without putting them through the formal course. And yeah, they all had it before we broke up.
Yeah, before, but not long before. So.
Okay, they could have released.
That's true, yeah.
They didn't. Now, I know what happened. After it happens, I can see the cause of it. If I give you ego presentation more than you want it, you unconsciously build up a resistance to hearing anything I have to say after a while. You stop growing, period. So there's a delicate balance. I can do it lightly. Like the way I'm doing it now is not as heavy as the ego presentation used to be. But I'll try it. Let's see what happens.
We'll need more workshops.
You talk about trying it, but I had a wanted to say over the last month or so, you've definitely turned the heat up from what you had before. So it's a lot of you in progress.
See, that's another problem. That's another problem I have. I think I'm going to do something. A higher power says otherwise. When you go free, your thinking mechanism is overridden by the highest beingness called God. What are we going to ask?
That's like I said, who is, that's like higher self or God.
The bottom line, it's you. Ramana Maharshi says, at times, there is no God, there's you. Show me God. Can you show, anyone here can show me God? Have you ever seen God? Ever get a letter from him? You ever shake his hand? So he says, there's no God, but there's you. And in your beingness, you are that God that you're conjuring up. Your beingness is what the world calls God. And when you release your ego sense and drop into your beingness, you're all-knowing, you're all-powerful, and you're everywhere present. Isn't that simple? Isn't that nice? What a present I gave you. You're God, you're God, you're God, you're God, you're God, you're God. God damn it. I'll put you get on now. But you can see why I can talk that way. Is there a God? Sure. I'm looking at him. And that's what you're looking at all the time, saying otherwise. Yeah, I can condemn him to hell. Wish him every bad thing there is. But not really, because it's me, my beingness. So when I voice it to you, I really don't mean it. Anything derogatory. Is there a God? Yeah. Thou art that. From the east, from the west, I am that I am. I'm still not sure if that's the only capitalized sentence. Come in. That's God.
Get him to close the door.
Hey, Georgie Burns, close the door. I just want to prove God is one. Not me and George Burns. He's just acting like one. Sure trying to hold on to his eternality through the physical body. He's in his 90s now, and he still gets on stage on special shows. He still gets up, talks, sings, dances. At least he thinks he's dancing. He just about moves. Anyway, God is the one single infinite beingness of the universe. Therefore, that must include us. It's the part of us that's our beingness. It's a car coming.
Been shining back from us.
So I got thrown off. I don't want mopeds around here. Dopeheads we have enough. They don't have to add any mopeds to it. I was thinking how to stop outside people from coming in with the proper sign. I think cattle guard.
Danger, radioactivity.
What about beware of the dog? Whoever talks to him says, I am the dog. Why don't we put up an electronic system? Put up a sign, beware of the dog, and if they walk in, they break an electronic beam which plays a very loud barking. They have to get a real dog on tape. Anyway, someday we'll have to have a receptionist out at an entrance point when the traffic gets heavier.
We could easily put an electronic gate and a little voice thing that you have the intercom, you press it if you want in. Otherwise, people that know could get in easily without even getting out of their car. So.
Maybe that's a better idea, and give it to Frank and his people.
Costs $400 or $500 for the gate. So.
Well, the way we like to waste money, I don't know.
Too low?
Oh, what did the two Indians want last week?
They never came back.
My scalp is my own then. I've got to lift that, Nancy told me yesterday or the day before, insurance cannot be granted unless that paper is lifted. So when I get back to town, I'll go to work at it and try to lift it. Boy, I sure can shift from the top to the bottom. What were we talking about? God and the dogs. Yeah, was there a God? I said, yeah, I'm looking at it. But I look at you and I see God. You say, no, Lester, you're a liar. I'm an extremely limited carcass. If my temperature goes up 10 degrees, I die. If I get a chemical in me, I die. If I don't put in vegetation to ferment it and make garbage out of it, I die. This is what you're saying. No, I am not the unlimited being. I'm a carcass, and someday you'll see you imaged it in your mind, needing all these little limitations. So what do you need to do? I summed up the 4 days sessions we had before. The first one was, you want the world more than you want freedom. And with it, you should take all your joy from yourself, from within, by releasing. That was session number 1. Session number 2 was, you must make the decision to go free and then do it. However, if you make the decision to go free, you will do it. It's that simple. If you're not free, you have not made the decision to go free. Because once you make the decision, everything you do after that is orientated toward going free. The prime thing of is making releasing constant. The third session was go directly to the fear of dying and release it. Release directly the fear of dying. As you know, underneath approval and control is the fear of dying. So get rid of the bottom motivator, and you're finished. The fourth one was, get everything you want from here on by releasing. I guess that is the most practical of the four. How successful have you been? Or are you still doing it mostly ego-wise? Remember, when you do it by releasing, it's effortless. If you're making an effort, that's ego-motivated.
So I get confused about the action part of it. You're just saying it's effortless. The body acts to get it, but it's without.
Yes, it's without effort. It's like floating through the air, floating through the thing. As I explained, if you wanted to lift your arm up, it takes no effort. It just floats up. No energy is required. So effortlessness is when I say I am not the doer and I let it happen. Another way of expressing is letting go and letting God. But your actual experience is no effort.
Makes it a lot clearer, because we could actually the body could go through all the actions of the day, doing things, and yet be effortless if we stay released.
Right. That's it. I think last time, didn't I read something that Ramana said, action doesn't stop one from realization. Identifying as the doer does. So bottom line, it sums up to, I am my beingness. And when you come from your beingness, you'll just watch the bodies float around, including your own, exactly as you would watch them on a movie screen. And when bodies on a movie screen start shooting even bullets and wiping each other out, you know it for what it is. Just an imagined thing. There's no death. You can image a death. Actually, there is no such thing as death. Get rid of the imaging, get rid of the imagination, get rid of the mind, and all I'm saying to you is very obvious. And again, you'll never stop struggling until you do go all the way to freedom. These 4 sessions, the first 4 sessions are so powerful. I decided not to add to it. I could go on with more things like that. I think it'll get to be maybe a little more confusing. And if I leave it as it is, it's simpler to understand and do. So we can go on talking about things related to this rather than new things. I don't want to overcomplicate it, because that's one of your serious problems. You've got everything overcomplicated right now. Life is simple. It's eternal. It's perfect. It's whole. Isn't that simple? Why pile things into the head that take you away from what I just said? Every thought is a limitation. Every thought is calculated to keep your body surviving. Every thought keeps you bound and around. So you must stop thinking. How? Release the fear of dying, and you don't have to struggle for survival anymore. Release the fear of dying, and you discover you are eternal. And all that misery you conjured up was ridiculous. Okay, I feel like stopping it right there because, again, I'm saying so much to you. Making it so simple, telling you you are it, you can't do anything about that, and telling you to stop looking otherwise, elsewhere, but into your own beingness.